Imagine waking up every morning with a calm, clear sense of direction. No matter what happens, setbacks, stress, or chaos, you stay focused on what truly matters. Sounds almost superhuman, right? Yet this was the everyday mindset of Marcus Aurelius, one of Rome's greatest emperors and one of history's most remarkable philosophers. His personal writings, now known as meditations, were never meant to be published. They were simply his private notes, reminders to himself on how to live wisely, calmly, and with purpose. But these words, written nearly 2,000 years ago, still speak powerfully to our lives today. In this journey, we explore Stoicism not as a dusty philosophy, but as a living guide to staying focused, peaceful, and strong. Stoicism teaches us how to turn problems into lessons, emotional chaos into calm, and uncertainty into power. In a world full of distractions, noise, and constant demands for attention, Stoicism brings us back to four timeless virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. It's not just about surviving life, it's about thriving in it, no matter what happens. So if you're ready to see life differently, to become more grounded, disciplined, and purposeful, stay with me. And if you find value in this journey, go ahead and subscribe, because what we'll uncover next can truly change how you live and think. At the heart of Marcus Aurelius's philosophy is one simple but powerful idea: self-discipline begins with purpose. Finding your purpose isn't about chasing fame, wealth, or success. It's about discovering what truly matters to you, what drives you deep down, and then aligning your daily actions with that. Marcus wrote about living in agreement with nature, which meant understanding your role in the world and acting in harmony with your values. For him, purpose wasn't some distant dream, it was his compass, guiding every choice, big or small. Purpose is what gets you out of bed each morning. It's what keeps you steady when temptation or distraction tries to pull you off course. It's not about doing grand things, but doing the right things, with commitment and integrity. Today, finding your purpose can feel overwhelming. We live in a world overflowing with choices, notifications, and comparisons. It's easy to lose sight of what really matters. That's where Stoic wisdom helps. Stoicism teaches us to strip away what's superficial, the temporary desires, fears, and distractions, until only the essential remains. It asks us questions like, what is truly worth my time and energy? How can my actions today make me better or help others? Your purpose often hides in the things you care deeply about, the problems you want to solve, the work that gives you satisfaction, or the challenges that make you come alive. Once you find that purpose, Stoicism gives you a simple daily practice to stay aligned with it: reflection. Each morning, ask yourself, what am I meant to do today? And each night, ask, did I live true to my purpose? Over time, this habit builds self-discipline and transforms your days from ordinary to meaningful. Another major lesson Marcus Aurelius taught was this: count on yourself. This doesn't mean isolating yourself or refusing help. It means taking full responsibility for your life, your actions, your reactions, and your growth. In Stoicism, this idea is central: focus only on what's within your control. You can't control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. Marcus believed that true strength comes from within, from trusting your ability to think clearly, to act with virtue, and to stand firm no matter what happens. This kind of self-reliance doesn't come from arrogance but from self-knowledge. It's about understanding your values, your limits, and your potential, and trusting yourself to navigate life using reason and integrity. In our modern world, where we're constantly surrounded by opinions, advice, and comparisons, listening to our own inner voice can be hard. But Stoicism reminds us, your inner reason, guided by virtue, is your most reliable compass. By counting on yourself, you gain freedom, the freedom to make choices based on your principles, not on pressure or impulse. So how can we begin to practice this today? Start small. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. Set a goal and work on it with focus. Reflect on your decisions and make sure they align with your values. Each small act of accountability strengthens your discipline and builds resilience. Over time, you become calmer, more confident, and unshakable, just as Marcus Aurelius was, leading an empire with both wisdom and grace. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless or detached. It's about being steady, clear-minded, purposeful, and in control of yourself, even when life gets messy. By finding your purpose, reflecting daily, and learning to rely on your own reason and strength, you can live not just a disciplined life, but a deeply meaningful one. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the quiet power of persistence, the act of showing up every single day, not just in body, but in spirit. For him, discipline wasn't about making big, dramatic efforts once in a while. It was about the small, steady actions repeated daily. That consistency, he believed, is what shapes our character and builds a strong, disciplined life. To Marcus, showing up every day meant living in harmony with nature. Nature doesn't just ask us to exist, it asks us to participate. It calls us to contribute, to do our part, no matter how ordinary or routine our tasks may seem. Each day, for Marcus, was like entering a new arena, not for fame or grand victories, but to prove to himself that he could stay true to his values and fulfill his duties. In today's world, this lesson feels even more relevant. With endless distractions and fading motivation, it's easy to feel inspired one day and lost the next. But Stoicism reminds us, it's not about how intensely we act, but how consistently we do. Real growth doesn't come from rare moments of inspiration, it comes from steady effort, day after day. That doesn't mean every day needs to be perfect or productive. It just means not letting the day slip by unnoticed. Whether you're working toward a career goal, trying to get healthier, or nurturing your relationships, the secret lies in simply showing up again and again. Marcus also taught that showing up is a form of mindfulness. It's about being fully present, doing today's work today, without being weighed down by yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. He often wrote about the importance of focusing on the task right in front of you and doing it with all your heart. When you live that way, even routine becomes meaningful. To start building this kind of discipline, begin small. Decide what showing up means for you. Maybe it's writing one paragraph for that book you've been meaning to start. Maybe it's 5 minutes of exercise, or 10 quiet minutes with someone you love. The scale doesn't matter, it's the act itself that changes you. Each day that you honor your commitment, you strengthen your willpower and resilience. Over time, these small moments of consistency shape a powerful, disciplined life. Marcus Aurelius also believed in another essential Stoic practice, embracing discomfort. To him, this wasn't about making life unnecessarily hard, but about preparing yourself for when life inevitably becomes hard. The Stoics often practiced small forms of discomfort on purpose, skipping luxuries, enduring cold, or fasting, to strengthen their minds and remind themselves that they could live without comfort. Why would anyone choose discomfort in a world that constantly promises ease and pleasure? This perspective also changes how we set goals. We can aim high, but our peace shouldn't depend on outcomes we can't control. True fulfillment comes from the effort itself, from knowing we acted with integrity, no matter the result. Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics never promised a life without challenges. What they offered was a way to face those challenges with calm and dignity. By showing up every day, embracing discomfort, and focusing on what's truly within our control, we can cultivate resilience, peace, and purpose, just as Marcus did while ruling an empire. In the end, Stoicism reminds us that while we may not control the world, we can always control how we show up in it. And in that simple, steady act lies the foundation of a meaningful and disciplined life. Marcus Aurelius often spoke about the importance of staying calm and strong, even when life feels uncertain or unfair. For him, true power came from taking responsibility for your own reactions instead of seeing yourself as a helpless victim of circumstances. Stoicism teaches that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Our peace of mind doesn't depend on external events, it depends on our inner state. This doesn't mean we should ignore pain or pretend bad things don't happen. It means we shift our focus from "why is this happening to me" to "how can I respond wisely to this?" Marcus believed that every challenge comes with a choice. You can either let it break you or let it build you. When you refuse to see yourself as a victim, you stop giving your power away. You realize that your emotions and your peace are your responsibility. That's real freedom. To practice this, start by noticing how you react to difficulties. Do you blame others? Do you complain or dwell on what's unfair? Instead of doing that, pause. Acknowledge what you feel, but then ask, what can I do right now that's within my control? Every obstacle becomes a test, a chance to practice patience, courage, and perseverance. Instead of being crushed by life's problems, you start to use them to grow stronger. This is the Stoic way, turning challenges into opportunities for virtue. By refusing to play the victim, you build an inner calm that can't be easily shaken. You don't become cold or emotionless, you simply learn to stay centered no matter what happens around you. Your happiness no longer depends on external things but on your own choices and values. Marcus Aurelius also believed in mastering your impulses, the art of delayed gratification. To him, this wasn't about denying pleasure but about choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. Stoics practiced this by resisting the urge for immediate rewards and focusing instead on what truly mattered in the long run. In our fast-paced world, where everything is instant, this skill is more valuable than ever. Whether it's saving money instead of spending it right away, choosing healthy food over junk, or studying instead of scrolling on your phone, each small act of restraint builds discipline. Marcus warned that if we're ruled by our desires, we lose our freedom. We become slaves to impulses that constantly demand more. But when we practice restraint, we gain control of our lives. We begin to experience a deeper kind of happiness, one that comes from purpose, not pleasure. Psychologists today agree with this Stoic insight. People who can delay gratification tend to achieve more, handle stress better, and lead more fulfilling lives. Every time you choose long-term growth over short-term comfort, you strengthen your willpower and move closer to the life you truly want. Another Stoic lesson Marcus often emphasized was ignoring naysayers, those who criticize or doubt you. He believed that our peace shouldn't depend on what others think because their opinions are outside our control. Instead, he urged us to focus on what is within our control, our actions, our intentions, and our character. This doesn't mean we should reject all feedback. Constructive criticism can help us grow. But random negativity or judgment from others shouldn't dictate how we feel or what we do. The Stoic approach is to evaluate the source. Is the feedback informed? Is it coming from someone wise or well-intentioned? If not, let it go. In today's world, where everyone has an opinion and social media amplifies every voice, this lesson is more relevant than ever. Learning to filter out noise and stay true to your own values is an act of strength. It keeps your emotional energy focused on what matters instead of wasting it on meaningless approval or criticism. Marcus Aurelius lived by this principle every day. As an emperor, he faced constant judgment, yet he remained calm and steady because his sense of worth came from within, not from the opinions of others. Finally, Stoicism teaches us to learn from those who embody wisdom and virtue. Marcus himself often reflected on the people he admired, their patience, humility, honesty, and courage. He studied their examples not to copy them, but to understand how to live better himself. By observing and learning from others' strengths, we grow in character. Wisdom, for the Stoics, wasn't about knowing everything, it was about living well. And one of the best ways to do that is to watch how wise people handle life, then practice those same virtues in our own. In the end, Marcus Aurelius's teachings remind us that happiness and strength come from within. When we take responsibility for our reactions, delay short-term gratification, ignore meaningless criticism, and learn from the wise, we begin to live with calm, purpose, and freedom, no matter what life brings. These principles, effectively in the context of Stoicism, choosing whom to emulate is about recognizing those who embody the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These could be historical figures, contemporaries, or even characters from stories and literature who demonstrate qualities such as resilience, ethical integrity, and rational thinking. The key is to look for individuals whose lives provide a roadmap for facing challenges with grace and determination. Applying this principle today involves a thoughtful selection of role models whose values align with our aspirations. It's about more than just admiration, it's about critically observing how these individuals navigate their lives, make decisions, and handle adversity. This practice encourages us to ask ourselves, what about this person's approach or mindset can I incorporate into my own life to improve my conduct and choices? Moreover, emulating wise individuals helps bridge the gap between abstract philosophical concepts and everyday actions. It provides a concrete example of how Stoic principles can be lived out. This not only makes these ideals more accessible but also more compelling as we see the tangible impact of Stoic virtues in the lives of those we respect. In seeking out and emulating wise people, we are engaging in a dynamic form of learning and self-improvement. It's a proactive approach to personal development that reinforces our commitment to growth and excellence. By surrounding ourselves with the influence of virtuous individuals, we set a high standard for our own behavior and decisions, propelling ourselves toward becoming the wise individuals we seek to emulate. This practice isn't merely about recounting events, but involves a profound and reflective examination of one's thoughts, actions, and responses throughout the day. It's about discerning whether these behaviors align with one's values and Stoic virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. This introspective process is crucial because it serves as a feedback loop that helps one become more conscious of their actions and decisions. For Stoics, the purpose of this daily review isn't to dwell on mistakes or to indulge in self-criticism, but to observe and adjust. It's about learning from each day's experiences and using that knowledge to refine oneself continuously. Marcus Aurelius used this technique as a way to ensure that he was not only performing his duties as an emperor but was also growing as a philosopher and human being. Incorporating this practice into modern life can be incredibly beneficial. It encourages us to end each day with a moment of quiet reflection. During this time, you can ask yourself several key questions. How did I respond to challenges today? Did I act according to my principles? What could I have done better? Were there moments where I lost control, and why? Reflecting on these questions helps you to develop greater self-awareness and guides you in living a more deliberate and intentional life. Moreover, this practice can foster a sense of peace and completion at the end of each day. It allows one to address any lingering thoughts or stresses by confronting them directly rather than carrying them into the next day. This can be especially powerful in our fast-paced world where it's easy to lose track of our deeper goals amid daily distractions and pressures. By honestly reviewing your day, you engage in a form of self-accountability that is gentle yet rigorous. It's about recognizing your strengths and acknowledging areas for improvement without judgment. This Stoic habit builds resilience and wisdom as it teaches you to be both the student and teacher in your life's journey.